Hey everyone, and welcome to a preview of our new show, the PSP Central Podcast. I'm Avery.
And I'm Eden. So glad to be here talking about one of our favorite handheld of all time.
Totally. So, gonna start with the short topic of the PSP in 2025. And from there on each episode, we're gonna cover different topics of stuff like how it all began, the games, the accessories. This thing was like from the future back then.
Right. Like it was so far ahead of its time. Like back in the mid to late 2000s when the PSP first really blew up, it was a total game changer. I remember back then people being Team PSP or Team DS. It was like a mini console war in school back then.
Heck yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that clearly. But what really defined the golden age of the PSP was all the modding and custom firmware. One of the biggest names back then was this dev called Dark Alex. I think he eventually stepped away from the scene when Sony started cracking down. Kind of like what happened with GeoHot, who even got sued by Sony.
Isn't that the guy who also unlocked the first iPhone?
Yep, that's the same guy. When Sony sued him, he made a whole song about it on YouTube. That was pretty wild. I still remember Pandora's Battery and Wipeout Pure having a hidden web browser before Sony launched the official PSP web browser. That stuff cracked everything wide open. Suddenly you had custom firmware like M33, Gen, and Pro unlocking a whole new world on your system.
And that truly unlocked features, like far beyond what Sony originally envisioned, right? Like suddenly your PSP wasn't just a console for gaming only. It became this all-in-one device that was like the iPhone before the iPhone, which Steve Jobs said it actually started with a tablet in 2004, what later became the iPad, and in 2005 switched development from the tablet project to the what became the iPhone we all know and love.
I think I also remember hearing Steve loving the Sony Vaio laptop designs too.
Knowing what Steve Jobs and Apple were working on back then, I wouldn't be surprised if he saw the PSP and took notice of everything it could do. With that early iPad prototype already in development, I can totally see him putting two and two together. It probably made him rethink things, realizing that phones were more essential at the time, which is probably what led him to pivot from the iPad idea to the iPhone instead.
That shift towards mobile makes sense in hindsight, but the PSP was already showing us what pocket-sized power could really look like. It supported emulators for Super Nintendo and Game Boy Advance, custom themes, cheat engines, and even overclocking plugins. Homebrew developers were building fan-made games, and forums like Walola and PSP Hacks were buzzing with creativity. Fast forward to today, Arc 4 custom firmware, launched just a couple years ago, is still evolving, unlike the other firmwares that haven't seen an update in like a decade. I saw the latest Arc 4 version is called the Nemo update, which came out like 1 month ago from the time of this recording. Gotta love that name. Shoutouts to Nemo.
Yeah, it's got powerful features. Unlike the older firmware such as Pro, Gen, or LME, Arc 4 actually integrates quality of life improvements right into its interface. So no more like messing around with config text files just to install plugins. Need to change the UMD region to play American movies on Japanese PSPs? Boom. Play your own music while playing games? Easy. Screenshot in game? It's all like just there in easy to use menus or button patterns.
It's crazy, right? And it even supports modern Wi-Fi now, right?
That's right.
Meaning you can finally connect your PSP to modern Wi-Fi hotspots as of Arc 4 version R163, which came out, I think, around February.
Yeah, I think so.
Before that, you had to have a router from about 2008 through 2012 or leave your Wi-Fi without a password, which you obviously never want to do. But that means the PSP has been renewed with online capabilities that we couldn't normally use without Wi-Fi. Internet radio, online multiplayer, basic web browsing. It just gives it that push it needed, you know?
Totally. And best of all, Arc 4 is optimized for all the models too. 1000, 2000, 3000, PSP Go, PSP Street. Arc even has a version of it for the PS Vita. It's wild that it's still getting updated in 2025. So whether you're, just reliving nostalgia or just discovering it now for the first time, Homebrew just keeps the PSP fresh. Like I'm starting to use this more than my phone when I'm not on social media.
It's so true. And 2 decades after its debut, the PSP is still like such a beloved handheld. Even with smartphones dominating entertainment, so many gamers, myself included, still reach for their PSPs.
And for good reason, too. I mean, think about it. Distraction-free gaming. Unlike your phone, which you are bombarded with calls, texts, and so on, the PSP is focused. No notifications, no ads. Just pure, unadulterated gameplay. It might even help cure TikTok brain rot.
Good one. And the iconic design, right? That sleek body, the responsive controls, those satisfying buttons with all those nice colors like blue, pink, red, light blue, and many others. And not to mention the clear housings that look absolutely gorgeous. It just feels like a proper entertainment slash gaming device, even 21 years later. I feel like it can even come out today like this and it still be extremely popular.
Yeah, it's got that tactile feel, unlike touching a phone screen. And it's also like a gateway to retro and indie worlds. From PS1 classics like Crash Team Racing, Pepsi Man, Pokemon from the Game Boy Advance, just a whole world of different systems and movies, music. The PSP just offers timeless content. It's incredible.
And in 2025, I think most of that ties back to the Arc custom firmware, right? That infinite potential. Arc 4 just transforms it into this like fully customizable multimedia powerhouse. You can play games, watch a movie, TV show, listen to internet radio, explore cool themes. It's endless. And again, no distractions. Period. I don't like it when I'm doing something like a game or video on my phone and a call comes in and I have to reject it, or a text comes in during a suspenseful part of a game or movie and it just ruins the vibe, you know?
Absolutely. The community, though, it's still like super active. New plugins, new tools, new discoveries are always popping up. From YouTube tutorials to threads on Reddit, GBA Temp, and more, there's like a really tight knit group keeping that flame alive.
It is amazing. I have a pink Hello Kitty one and I get compliments on it all the time. I would argue the PSP is still the better choice over a phone. I have the little camera for it, and the pictures, while 2008 quality, yes, I think they still look great.
Yeah, as retro gaming gets more and more love and younger generations discover the joy of physical buttons and focused experiences, the PSP's relevance just it keeps growing.
So whether you're like modding one, collecting them, or just, playing Ridge Racer, Silent Hill in the dark, you are definitely part of a legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Long live the PlayStation Portable.
Well, that's a wrap for today's preview on the PSP Central Podcast. Join us next week for the next episode,
where we'll be talking about some of our favorite PSP themes and the difference between PTF and CTF themes. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll catch you next time.